In my personal opinion, the maximum amount of times that a person can leave a location and thereafter return to that location is twice. If you come over to my home and you forget something, sure, come back in once. If you try and come back in a second time, sure, plausible. If you come back in a third time, you're just trying to disturb my peace. I mean, seriously. Anyway, welcome to Teen Poetry. Today I'm drinking water. I'm thinking that the next time I'm at the store, I'll pick up a new tea. At the moment, I was not in the mood for peach or for standard Malfang green tea either. So, water it is. I do also have a cream soda that is also very tasty, but the water is going to be in my mouth more. Now, the topic today was going to be stationery, which I can briefly talk about. I adore stationery, and as one does when they adore stationery, they don't spend more than $20 on a pen for themselves, because that's just absurd. They do spend a collective $200 on a stationery order. And just for those of you that don't know, there's a few different kinds of pens. There's a hybrid ink pen, there's a rollerball pen, there's a ballpoint pen, and then a gel pen. Now, a gel pen, a gel pen's going to be your worst drawing. That is going to be water-based. Now, rollerball, that is also water-based, also doesn't dry well. And then ballpoint is oil-based, but it's not as smooth. An example of these pens would be the Parker Jotter for a ballpoint. For a rollerball, it could be the Vision Elite, I believe, by Uni. And then gel is the Pilot G2, the bane of my existence. Smudges like a slew of words that I would never use. Now my favorite. There's a fourth category, which is hybrid pens, which is there's literally a pen called the Hybrid that uses hybrid ink. The Uniball Jetstream uses hybrid ink. There's a lot of pens that do use hybrid ink. It's a mix between the gel ink and the ballpoint ink, and it gives you sort of the best of both worlds. It just means that the drying time significantly increases. Now, in my cart right now, I've got the special edition of the Uni 1, which is essentially that baby pen that you see everywhere. But this one has sparkles in it. It's like a birthday edition, it looks like. It says Irogami, colorful body. I have no idea what that means. It's really cute, though. And, oh, apparently it's in my cart, but it's sold out now, so I will not be getting it. Never mind, I'll find something else. I'll be getting the a lot of the things that I had in my cart yesterday are now sold out, so I guess I won't be getting a lot of these. LOL. Hmm. I'm thinking that I have to reevaluate because most of the things that I wanted are now gone. I'll definitely get the Kukuyo Research Lab pen because I do love my marker pens for taking notes. I took 30 pages of notes for learning Python in 3 days using one of these, and they're just great. They're just great. They write on almost anything, they write well. That's all I need. I'm 108 pages deep on this, by the way. I should not be getting this sidetracked. I'll do my shopping later. I just thought I'd bring it up. There's some great pens out there, and a lot of them that are way too expensive. But what we're talking about is what belongs in poetry and what doesn't. In my opinion, there's a lot that's come into poetry that maybe we don't need. I know it's about creativity, though a lot of this will become popular and then it makes things tough. For example, yesterday I ran into a poem that had 70 slashes in it. 70 whole entire slashes. I don't know if I've ever used 70 slashes. I definitely have. I don't know if I've ever used more than 10 in the same piece of anything. I'm not convinced a book on slashes would even use that many. But that's just a personal thing. And then I understand that religion's a big part of people's lives, but if I read more poetry about how you kissed him like he was your god, shut up. I've seen too much of it. I've seen way too much of it. And even if I hadn't, I don't think I'd really care. I don't think I'd really care to read it. And it continues on with hmm. Hmm. It's retold with notebook-esque stories of how this is acceptable when I do it. When I do it, it's magical. When you're there, it's like nothing ever before. Though it's not done in a very creative way. And maybe that's why it becomes popular, and that's just not my kind of thing. I'll see these things printed on the fronts of books. Today's show, read of the month. This is a New York Times bestseller, and I'll immediately put down a book that I thought might be interesting and go, wow, this probably stinks. I'll think that immediately. Because why would I read this after that? This just means that it's the same story over and over again that won the last time. I lost a research paper award not that long ago to someone that just did a research paper that had already been done. That's so demoralizing. Now, I did get my poems published in multiple places. It's just so demoralizing to put so much work into a research paper to get lost in the same nonsense as many other things. And then there's things like this by Ka Conrad. The spirit of your flowers is my favorite shelter. We were in love is the main thing. Faintest green light in tree pulls me forward. Whenever life is beautiful makes me think of you. Carry color of the forest to be with, you to belong to, this world with. You have to have what we have, and that is it. Yes, the present is between the past and future, but it is too radical to be called the middle. No. No. If you put a comma in here to make it read better, or just put this all on one line, but with the inherent stops of pressing enter after each of these short lines. No. It reads not. It doesn't read. Spaces where spaces should not be is not a stylistic choice. It is a mistake. 2 spaces in your line is you didn't proofread close enough and you let your docs or word get away from you. It is not an implied space. An implied space would be clear. This is not intentional, and it's clearly not. And then it just continues. It just continues. Here's another one. Holy Ghost by Deanna Young. We had no paper, then, or we had no pen or no words. How to say it? We had no voice, no listeners, just deaf night. I'm not even going to read this because it goes on for like 5 pages and it's triple spaced, it looks like, with a full space in between each of these lines, which are no more than 4 words in each. It seems the intention is not to so much have meaning, but rather to make the longest possible thing possible. If a poem is to go more than multiple pages, I expect it to be dense, not just spaced as such. There's a big difference between a John Keats poem and a poem that someone just tossed out there. Here, Naya by Lindsay Nixon. When the stranger bumps his shoulder into me, hard, without an ounce of concern, I can feel the fire bubbling inside of me. The heat from the concrete rising up through my feet, reverberating like electricity, about to erupt magma through every orifice of my body. Lava that will oxidize every atom and molecule of his body on contact. The city embodied as embodied trauma, the trauma of settlement. I spin around to yell at him, letting anger fully consume my spirit, as it has so many times before. I don't know where the empowerment ends and the dissolution begins anymore. Wonderful! Wonderful! Lindsay Nixon, on a comprehensive paragraph. She could have very easily spaced this out into 89 individual lines, but she didn't. She took the care and made a comprehensive piece of prose that reads lovely. And it puts relatability in a way that is not complacent to all else. Any of us that have had the issue of walking past someone inconsiderate have felt this feeling, though it's not done in the way that everyone has said it. I can say, oh, that was really annoying, or I could say that lava would oxidize from every atom and molecule of his body on contact for what he had done, to express how horribly this affected me. That's a big difference. That's what should be popular, in my eyes. I'm just saying. That's just me. There's no similes in many poems nowadays. There's very few literary devices in many of these. Another one. Oh my goodness. Now, it was in a boardroom. Tyler Pennock. It was in a boardroom that I witnessed the latest killing. A room filled with knowledgeable white people. Now, I've spoken on racial themes in poetry before, and it can be done very well, or it can be done not very well. And this one seems like it did it well. It's just the spacing of such makes me not want to read it at all. When many see something like that makes them not want to read it just from the way it's spaced and from the way that it hooks you, maybe try again. Maybe try again. Ooh. I rarely see blackout poetry nowadays. Yeah, it's just the spaces of so many of these and the way that they mimic each other. There's nothing unique that's been made, but there's ways to make it more unique than just not. How about this one? What the queer community should have told us by Kai Cheng Tom. 1. You are perfect and also flawed. 2. You are allowed to make mistakes and be accountable for them. Accountability is not the price you pay in blood for being human, is number 3. 4. Justice is not violence. 5. Integrity and blind obedience are not the same thing. 6. No one's truth is more important than yours, and your truth is not more important than anyone else's. 7. Just because someone is famous does not mean they are honest. 8. Your worth cannot be measured by the number of your scars. 9. You are worth saving, and you are worth holding, and you are worth teaching, and you are worth more than political theory, and you are not disposable, and you will not be thrown away. 10. Your body is not weapon. 11. Your words are not a curse. 12. Your intentions do matter, and so do your actions. 13. We can not live without each other. I'm not going to finish this one, but it's actually quite good. I just don't feel like repeating "you are loved" 13 times. It's a good poem though. With the way that it began, I didn't think that I would enjoy it, but Kai Cheng Tom, you did a good job here. No one's truth is more important than yours, and your truth is no more important than anyone else's. Great symbolism, great talk. I approve. I know it's not up to me to approve for something to matter, but still. That's the kind of stuff that I feel like belongs in poetry. Discussion, not just writing words to write words and fulfill some sort of deadline or nonsense. Poetry to me is so important to feeling or concepts that I feel like it's an insult to those of us that treat it as such to see something that's not even trying to be comical, but is just bad. It's just bad. I have commented on it and I've written parody poems of it in the Rupi Kaur episode, but I don't want to hear about your 50 Shades of Grey fanfic. Keep it in your mind. Never put it out there, honestly. Not to diss creativity, but that's not creativity, it's just porn. And not even porn for the sake of expression, just because. Just because. Maybe we should deliberate first. How about that? I don't know. That's just me. Maybe we keep each and every complaint that we don't plan to reflect upon within, and we don't put it into poetry. Maybe we don't talk about how we blame this group of people for everything rather than getting down to why it matters or how they even contribute. Maybe that's more effective for growth. Maybe we don't go to therapy just to use it as a weapon. Maybe we go there to improve. Maybe we grow as people and we put that into poetry. How about that? Ooh. Ooh. Now, that's an enticing offer right there. I'm both referring to myself and to this double entendre. Is that what they call that? Because I see some pretty pens over here, and yes, I am shopping still. I am shopping still. Some of these are very important and very expensive, which means they're less important to me in many ways. But I do quite like the way that this pen looks. I did have a Lamy Pico, which is a collapsible pen that's very cute, but I spent way too much about that on that, and I don't really want to talk about it, so we will not talk much about it. Oh, this is cool. They do have air pressurized pens too. I believe they're for space. Space is not as much my expertise as is English, but I digress, as people love to say. Ooh. My forte in pens is ballpoints and roller balls. Oh, that's really pretty. The Kumamano Lab Fonte rollerball pen. Oh, that's really pretty. But I don't need it. I'll get something else. Anyway, my dogs need to be walked, so I'll get to that. And I'll wrap up real quick here. We'll have a much longer episode next time with some actual writing of my own. How about that? We'll pick a topic, we'll run through it, and if I find a poet that I really feel like needs to be highlighted, I'll bring them up. And I'd love to get some interviews going. So if there's any poets you'd like me to interview who are in the New York area or the East Coast, I will interview them, or even in the Midwest, and I'll try and set up an interview with them for on here. And we'll exchange poems, we'll read through each other's, we'll go through the whole stuff. Maybe even a book promo for them. Or for me. I am working on my own book still. Another one. You can always pick up Tide if you want. Anyway, thanks for listening. Check out the other ones if you haven't already. Bye bye.